immediately a Jhin banned away. No surprise because ROCCAT used that to take down Vitality.
Yeah, obviously ROCCAT's great win against Vitality. A team, for some reason, ROCCAT is 2-0 against. Even though they're one of the best teams in Europe and ROCCAT has struggled against almost everyone else.
I love this line. The last time we saw ROCCAT, they lost to Giants. And then before that, they beat Vitality.
I mean, it doesn't add up.
It doesn't make sense.
It is Europe, you know, these kind of things will happen. Jax ban, not a surprise, but I think on red side, I don't think you have to ban the Jax because you can end up having a last pick, but ROCCAT will most likely early pick a Poppy, and then they don't want to have Werlyb picking the Jax into it.
Well, we're going to see which AD carry is better because 3 champions are removed from the pool. Interesting to see, even though HolyPhoenix feels Tabzz isn't as strong as he used to be.
Lucian first pick.
2 respect bans. Poppy's still up and available as well, as is Braum, Alistar.
See, that's the problem about first picking AD carry right now. That is not Severe or Kalista. There are so many other good picks, but at the same time, both Poppy and Trundle are there. A lot of teams like to trade them. You know, you take the Poppy, we get the Trundle in. It's a matchup. Obviously, that at different parts of the game will favor each champion. Just to say it in a very buzzword, easy way. So I wonder if it is a Lucian first pick with these 2 AD carry bans. Otherwise, there's a high chance Tabzz will just lock it in and be like, you can ban the AD carries. I mean, well, Lucian is still good enough.
For Huma, HolyPhoenix has played Lucian more than any other champion. 5 games during the course of Spring Promotion and then playoffs. Rather, Spring Challenger and then playoffs, but it's Nidalee instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's again what I tried to talk about before. First picking a Lucian just feels so meh.
Yeah.
When there's like Nidalee as well, which obviously was left open because ROCCAT banned Corki with the last one. So it does mean ROCCAT will most likely pick up the Lucian. And again, that kind of nullifies these 2 AD carry bans in a sense, even though they're very special AD carries. You know, Severe is just borderline broken right now. And then Jhin, for the right teams with poke comps and an AD carry is good at skill shots, Jhin is a fantastic pick as well. So maybe they're saying, you know what, if ROCCAT plays standard, we have a chance to beat them. If they pull out
something fancy,
difficult, like Jhin, we have to respect that and ban the way.
Jhin, Azir, Renekton. It's what ROCCAT used to take that Vitality. I know you love that Renekton pick, Deficio. No, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm not putting words. It was a bad pick. And
yeah,
other options.
I don't like Renekton. That's probably a chance Freddy will play this tournament. He is an old school Renekton player.
He's an old school player.
He's an old school player. That's true. He's tried different things. He's been in a promotion tournament before with SK Gaming and lost.
That's right.
Going 5 games, ended up losing in the end, and he said it was one of the worst things ever. He didn't even watch the World Championship after losing in one of the features we had with him earlier in the year. Check it out on YouTube.
And it has been a difficult split for Freddy because the redemption story, the ability to prove himself, hasn't really happened this split. And Freddy is still struggling in terms of trying to find his feet. As have ROCCAT, to be fair. Ezreal Braum locked in for Huma. With all those ADC bans, we're going for the scaling. Trundle locked in. That will deny it from Werlyb. I think that's a good pick because Werlyb used Trundle exceptionally well against Copenhagen Wolves in the Challenger Finals on this very stage.
And in normal pick and bans here, you kind of push the enemy top lane over to a Poppy pick then, and Trundle will do fine, especially late game in that matchup. So I like that pickup from ROCCAT. It's also a pickup where Freddy can have more impact as a split pusher himself, which is the style he likes to play. Obviously with these big tanks up in the top lane, just going 1v1 for 40 minutes running. Used to do it like on the Mundo if you go back in the days. Now that we talk old school with Freddy. And also, I mean, we've had some harsh words for him from time to time, but we also praised him before. And as you said, hasn't really made a big impact in this split here. We're looking at Betsy and Airwaks. If we're looking at ROCCAT, that's like the 2 players who really has been standing out for ROCCAT as a team. We need to see more from top and bot.
All right, let's see if Freddy and Tabzz can step up their game today for ROCCAT. There's a best of 5. The winner advances to LCS. The loser will be going down tomorrow in one more shot. Graves and LeBlanc locked in for Werlyb in the top lane and Godbro in the mid. Not super surprised. These look like a lot of comfort picks.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk quite a lot about Godbro and that LeBlanc once we get in game.
Definitely a comfort pick for him. Overall, a composition from Huma, which is, you know, very focused on 1-3-1, skirmish, trying to duel people. You know, Graves want to get in the face of Trundle. It's a good matchup for the Graves here. Nidalee in the jungle, always looking to 1v1 the enemy jungler, especially against the likes of a Gragas, who are a slow-scaling jungler. So Huma are definitely looking for these lanes here with a lot of push power in the early game, and then try and set up this 1v1 with Nidalee, which is why I think ROCCAT can lane swaps very, very easily. Even surprising us, putting the Trundle as support, and then putting Rammus in top for Freddy. we'll still struggle against the Graves. We'll get pushed into tower basically over and over, but you can like flash taunt gank and then a Gragas coming in, that's pretty easy to kill.
So that's not really a gigantic surprise here. Noxiak already has a game of Trundle under his belt. We know Freddy has played Rammus twice in the past. Very invested in their double damage threats. I mean, it's all on Betsy and Tabzz to get the damage down with that front line, whereas Huma have got damage all the way down that rock.
That has to flank though. Like, the comp Huma is running are very difficult to execute. It's not quite the Z Fizz comp we saw Splice play earlier, but it's somewhat the same. Again, it's 1-3-1, it's heavy skirmish focus, and if you ever get into a team fight, which we most likely will because these two teams like to team fight in the late game, then Huma's comp will struggle against what ROCCAT has been building.
All right, we'll find out whether or not Huma's comp can make it to the late game and if they can survive through those skirmishes. I think it's enough talk from us. It's time to hit the rift and see if the Spring Challenger champions can take on ROCCAT to earn the LCS.
We have more experience than the Challenger team.
They might underestimate us. Underestimating their team is really bad.
Huma managed to secure the Nexus. They're going to do it. And they are the Spring Split champions here in Challenger.
We played against the best team in Europe.
For the second time this split, ROCCAT destroy Vitality.
So I think we have the highest chance to win.
And I want everybody to jump on Twitter and tell me who you think will be joining Splice in the summer split of the LCS. Hashtag HMA win if there will be a new flag added to the stage, or hashtag ROC win if ROCCAT will simply remain where it is placed. Cool. That's that done. Thanks for the support, Deficio.
You said it, man. You said it. And you guys have to be able to call it here in game 1.
Yes.
For the entire series.
Yes, that's how it works.
I mean,
have you not paid attention
entire
to the Twitter
analyst
call-outs?
desk failed completely. Well, technically, we didn't 100%. We called Splice to win, and they did in the end. Except for Mythy, who called Giants, and therefore we have to call him out now. And that's why we kicked him off the analyst desk, and the Yankees was the only man remaining.
That brutal.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Wrong predictions, you're out.
I don't think we'd have much of a show if that were really the case.
No, I think we've all just been removed very quickly.
It doesn't look like there's any shenanigans going on here. I take it back. Tabzz and Noxiak positioning for a lane swap.
Yep.
It's reactionary. Are you surprised by that or expect?
No, I think ROCCAT should lane swap 100%. First of all, you want to get rid of this jungle matchup in the early game and just get the gentleman's agreement, divide the jungle, farm even, otherwise Gragas will get spanked by the Nidalee. And also at the same time, the 1v1 lane with Rammus into Graves. It's not the greatest for Rammus. Rammus is a fairly weak laner, so I think ROCCAT should lane swap. And I'm actually surprised Huma isn't blind swapping top almost, because I felt like it was in many ways fairly obvious, also with the Nidalee pick in here. But Huma decides to just play it extremely safe and go bot lane, and therefore ROCCAT can be happy.
All right, let's see what suis can do in this. A little bit of invade. Blue buff secured by Airwaks with a smite. No real major interference, but
He's helping.
he's helping. Okay, going off a little walk.
Gets a drink.
Airwaks offers a friendly drink and a pat on the back. So lane swap shenanigans will equate the stages of lane swap in a minute or two. I want to talk about Godbro and this LeBlanc. It's currently undefeated throughout Challenger, 5-0. Take a look at those stats: 27 kills and 30 assists. Godbro doesn't farm minions; he farms champions.
Yeah,
when playing this.
That is very strange with Godbro. You know, sitting at home yesterday, some people would go out and party, some people would, you know, whatever, play games. No, it's all about stats. You know, we were just looking at stats for this one, and we wanted to find something on Huma. There wasn't a whole lot to find. A lot of it was actually very standard. Just, you know, it's even in laning phase, fairly even in terms of just objectives taken. There wasn't really anything that stood out, except for Godbro. Because Godbro is getting the lowest amount of gold share of any mid laner in Challenger. So, like, that means his team will get a lot more gold normally than he will compared. Like, he gets 22% of the gold, where AD carry HolyPhoenix is like 30%, and it's very different in terms of how to allocate the resources there. Because Godbro, he's just walking around the map picking people off on the likes of LeBlanc. He's not farming side lanes very often. He's not sitting and just wave playing mid. No, he is very active on the map. He's a roaming mid laner. It is both good and bad. Once you play against good teams, they tend to fall apart because it's too risky. Playstyle, like,
You're missing on all that farm that your opponent's getting.
Yeah, you're missing the farm, and if you don't get that kill, you fall behind. And that also happened to him when they played against Opening Wolves in some of the games. And that is the style of Godbro. It is a very risky one, but he is a good mechanical player. Betsy, however, has had a very good year. And I think 1v1, Betsy will be more than fine.
Well, Betsy's already starting to stamp his authority on this lane. Earning a little bit of a CS advantage, as you somewhat expect. 3-6 on LeBlanc. And of course for Godbro and those roaming side lane gangs, significantly harder when a lane swap is going on.
Yeah.
So let's see how the next few phases of the swap plays out. Both teams have successfully secured the first tower. It actually looks like Freddy already backed, maybe tad early. You can see
Bot lane
Werlyb trying to
Huma
do that. So
didn't bounce the wave. So if you don't bounce the wave on bot side, you have to stay. You have to keep your top lane there and have him push it all the way into tower, because he will most likely have a small level advantage at first when the enemy top laner joins. That's why Freddy's down here, because he's trying to freeze the wave. You gotta push it all the way into tower and get it to reset. Werlyb is getting close to it. He's very close to the tower right now, but Freddy is still here picking up what he can. And therefore they're now even trading. And ROCCAT is jumping into standard lanes. But look at this extra minion wave Freddy's gonna pick up, and Werlyb is only 2 CS ahead at this point, so he is going to fall behind. This Nidalee here is not really gonna do a whole lot. He's get a bit of damage from tower. And Freddy's just trying to farm everything he can.
Werlyb's trying to get as much damage down as possible, getting all of those pellets onto the tower as best as possible. Freddy will pick up a few of these CS, but the challenge for Freddy...
It's very useless Rudy's here. You're never gonna kill this tower. You're just gonna chip it down a little bit. Gragas can just join and push you off. Instead here, maximize your farm as in Nidalee. Take away that Grump and the Wolf Camp. More value than you chipping away some damage on tower.
But he manages to walk in lane and potentially throw out the high. It's Rudy, you know.
Maybe that was it.
Throw the psychological games at them, you know.
Writes it on his spear when he throws it towards Freddy.
That's it. Just sending a message, as it were.
Well, he should just steal away the jungle instead.
Grump will be secured here by Rudy. Pounces down and starts to back away. Recall from Werlyb's come out, 22 CS.
I actually think now looking back at it, he probably already had taken one of the camps, and he's like, I have nothing to do, but I need to stay here to let my top laner push in this wave, so he just had to kind of join him.
So now we're okay with it.
No, maybe. I didn't. We need to see again. Oh,
body slam.
Airwaks.
No flash from Godbro though. Airwaks opts not to follow the body slam flash. Godbro survives through to level 6.
We're not okay. Wolf Camp was up the entire time.
Was Wolf Camp up?
Yeah, he should have taken.
Okay, so now we're back to not liking it.
Yeah.
Ping-ponging like a seesaw. The chains come down. Betsy gets 2 slices before he's rooted in place.
I'm just playing it safe.
2 tower shots and Betsy walks away. Godbro still poked out.
You know, if I both criticize and praise, people will like it. You know, the people who think it's wrong I'm criticizing will like that I'm praised him.
And then the people who like the praise, okay, it's clever, it's clever.
It's just playing it safe.
Covering all your bases.
I think it's Rudy's getting this CS here.
Next level is Rudy comes to clear out the mid lane. Godbro's gone for a slightly more aggressive start. The Null Magic Mantle plus Blasting Wand. Betsy, just a couple extra CS, has actually picked up the Negatron Cloak, so item advantage, additional MR.
But still, even for ROCCAT here, because Huma didn't decide to bounce the wave, you know, ROCCAT got past the point of the game they wanted to, the really early game where Nidalee could be extremely annoying, get Gragas around level 6, and he can start at least fighting back a little bit or setting up against the gank. He's level 5 now, getting 6 very soon, and now he's here just to help these guys push it out. So both junglers are kind of following each other, being like, oh, you want to push out the wave, or I'll be here as well, just, you know, for the agreement. And then another hides Rudy Spear.
We need to find out whether or not ROCCAT can maintain this tempo lead. Fan vote is in favor of Huma. A little surprised by that one, actually. Well, to be fair, Huma did win Challenger Finals. Godbro comes off worse for wear in that trade. Looked really good until 2 Sand Soldiers slapped him in the face. And Betsy's already starting to put some control from range.
It's a fun matchup, though.
Tell me why.
There's a lot of different opinions about it. You know, a lot of people like to play Azir into LeBlanc because you can just push lane. And if he ever goes aggressive, you have heal as a summoner spell. And you go Abyssal Scepter first item, so she can't one-shot you. So when she jumps in, put up the Sand Soldier in front of you. Hit her in the face. If she jumps back to the distortion, you move the Sand Soldier to follow her. Soldier is very hard to say. The soldier will follow her, and you can still slap her on the way out. So actually, you can always hit her when she jumps in and out with the soldiers. And then again, as I said, you have heal and a Scepter. Their most balanced item in the game, so you don't die in the 1v1.
All right, that's
you
simple.
Push.
On the assumption that you can actually make all those combos work.
I mean, when she distortions to your face, you put a Sand Soldier in front of you. That's fairly easy.
All right.
When she jumps back, you move the Sand Soldier with her.
You make it sound very, very easy.
I think, Trevor, you could execute that combo.
All right, I'll try it out. But
and then obviously don't get like chained and fully comboed and ganked, but that's another part.
Okay, all right. That's part 2, which we'll talk about later. Because Godbro is down 10 CS, wave pushing towards Betsy. Blue buff already secured by Betsy. You can see Huma's blue still alive and standing. No presence yet as Rudy is not really farmed up any sort of lead. Airwaks has got action advantage in the jungle. Rudy spent, I think, a fair amount of time in lanes.
Yeah.
With his teammates just showing some support, making some threat. But take a look at the level difference. Airwaks has safely gotten through this early game, and the cask is available. So, yep, at any moment, you just get knocked away. Look at this combo. Godbro.
And
Under
that's again why ROCCAT is so happy with the fact that it was actually pushed out so they could swap Freddy to the bottom side. He didn't get as much farm as he wanted to, but he definitely got enough, and he's even now with the Graves. So where ROCCAT could have struggled in the first few levels, they managed to just go dead even now in terms of jungle and top lane. So they can be very happy now. You get a BF sword as well on your Lucian into the scaling Ezreal. So the 2v2 is strong for ROCCAT. And overall, they're looking just fine. We're not at a point, though, where any team is messed up enough to lose the game in any way possible. It is going to be an issue, though, if Godbro cannot find his way to the side lane. Once you get a Abyssal Scepter for Godbro, he wants to go to the side lane. He wants to start playing that 1-3-1 split push. If he stays mid, Betsy will just keep standing here and pushing in that tower, and he will get it down at some point.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the fact that Godbro is already recalling. Rudy's going to be nearby to try and soak up some of this wave. We'll see if he opts to come into lane. But not the most, multi-tiered lane swap, which we'll talk about in a second. Freddy's in trouble. Powerball's available, not going to get interrupted just yet. Flash, that will interrupt the Powerball. Puncturing taunt into Werlyb's face. Freddy's going to survive for a while. He's got a lot of armor to work with. The heal will come up through the Keystone, and First Blood picked up by Werlyb in a 2-on-1.
Interesting play from Freddy, just all alone saying, I'm gonna push out this wave here, pop ulti, pop everything. And then
he at his best.
And then not respecting the fact the enemy jungler is going to show up and your team doesn't really have anyone on the map who can do anything else, because normally you would then rush a dragon and say like, oh, you take a kill for dragon. But look at the minimap. Like, Gragas is just coming from base right now. Your bot lane is doing Grump at the same time. So you pushing up here, it's just really sloppy. And
unlucky timing. He was using Tremor to push the wave.
Of course. And he had a ward, right? So technically he had done everything correct, except for the fact he was pushing when his team couldn't do anything and he just got ganked. And that's an easy first blood now for Huma.
That's the same problems that we've seen from Freddy. Airwaks takes so much damage from Godbro. The chains will root him in place. Knocks the blue buff forward into Betsy's waiting hands. And Airwaks survives!
All planned. All planned. Even dodges Ezreal.
Dodges the true shot barrage.
Man, that was so close. I don't even know if he tried to knock him away and ended up just knocking him into Betsy. Let's just say he planned to knock him towards him so Betsy could get the kill. Important for ROCCAT. That could have been 2 kills for Huma now. Instead, Betsy gets a kill. He can push in mid lane again. He's very far ahead in farm.
30 CS ahead and a kill, and this tower may even go down as well.
And then, as we talked about in Champs, like this Huma composition is all about skirmishing and 1-3-1-ing. If you ever get into teamfights late game, you technically should not be able to win unless you pull off an absolutely insane flank where there's zero vision from the enemy team. So this is very, very risky now for Huma. Okay, so now it's started calling the play already. I'm gonna get chunked here. I'm gonna survive, ever so slightly. Ultis ends up just hitting straight on Godbro and actually knocks him into Betsy, who then picks up the kill and stays alive.
Unbelievable. That had to have been single-digit HP from Airwaks.
So what could have been a really good play for Huma with getting another kill and a kill onto Godbro before he goes to the side lane ends up being even better for ROCCAT now.
So ROCCAT have got themselves 1,500 gold. Thanks to that additional tower that they've secured. Sundisk, killed off by Godbro, not worth anywhere near as much. And it looks like Airwaks is moving down bottoms, placing some wards. Both junglers sort of opposite sides of the map, but it'll be much more difficult for Freddy.
And it's very fun to play jungle if your mid laner is winning and he has control, because you can just walk into the enemy jungle and you go bot lane.
Oh, bot lane's in trouble. Noxiak's going to sidestep and with Subjugate get some healing. The barrel will kill suis. HolyPhoenix is trying to get a kill back. Werlyb teleported in with the double collateral damage. It's not done yet. Godbro's got his first champion farmed of the game. Freddy and Betsy looking for more. Godbro and HolyPhoenix are so low. It's a 1-for-3 in favor of Huma.
And look here, top lane, Rudy, he couldn't even join because he was already setting up a potential push on top tower. Then instant TP down from Werlyb. Dive in from ROCCAT, which technically should have been executed well, but they take a lot of damage before Airwaks even joins. So Noxiak is out of the fight, and Tabzz is down to about 50%, and then Airwaks joins in. So because they took so much damage from tower, it removes the fact that there was no jungler, obviously, from Huma at this point. Betsy also has to take a long route down to join the fight and ends up not picking up a kill. HolyPhoenix jumps away, so good response here by Huma. And ROCCAT bot lane a little bit too greedy on getting in towards that tower and starting the dive. Noxiak was basically dead by the time the fight even started.
Yeah, and did it manage to hurt them as ROCCAT ended up losing that one. So evens up that goal difference.
I mean, Werlyb is 3-0 now. Already has his first item completed. Massive amount of sustain coming from him. High base damage, good for extra wave clear Q now that the Q got nerfed a few patches ago as well. Not going to be a whole lot. It's going to burst him down. So obviously the passive is not going to be that massive for him against basically zero burst champions. But it's the sustain.
Yeah.
When you play against Rammus, it's about pushing him in, out-sustaining him.
Getting through that defensive ball curl.
It's going to take time.
Eventual Thornmail.
Yeah. It's going to take time. He's going to build Thornmail, as you said. And then you need the lifesteal to keep that 1v1 going.
And we'll see how long Werlyb stays opted in. Teleport not available for either Freddy or Werlyb. The Dragon has been started. And you can see both laners, top laners, in their respective lane. Another peel away. ROCCAT not fully committing to this one. He's in trouble. Oh, look at Godbro. If he finds Tabzz, then Tabzz is in trouble. Dash forward. Tabzz manages to sidestep the chain. Ignite has been used, but can't afford that one. If Godbro connected, probably dead Tabzz.
Oh, 100% a kill there. Tabzz had flash as well, in case the chain had landed onto him. But it's a very standard ROCCAT game so far. Betsy's winning his lane. Has won his lane in almost every game we've seen in the LCS. He's actually the #1 mid lane in terms of farm at 10 and 20. Just another stat being pulled out there. Had a great Friday night looking at stats. And of course, Airwaks always being around this mid lane. You know, Airwaks has been hovering around mid lane a lot and then had that one roam to the bottom lane. And that's again where a bit standard ROCCAT. When it's the side lane that has to make the plays, they tend to go wrong. You know, Freddy overextends top and dies. Dive set up on the bottom lane way too early by Noxiak and Tabzz, and they're basically out of the fight before it even happens. And that's just been the story for ROCCAT all split. Trust in Betsy and Airwaks right now. We need to see more from side.
See if ROCCAT can lean on Betsy's experience, following the True Shot barrage all the way. Thank you, observers.
I want to see a map where if you shoot it out at the end there, it actually just appears behind you on the other side of the map.
Well, that's a little unfair. He'll just do that permanent loop.
Well, it can do it once.
Siege onto the middle lane. HolyPhoenix and Godbro are going to be escorted in by minions. Godbro again looking to chunk down Tabzz. Culling will clear out most of the wave, but in the top lane, ROCCAT will be losing the tower to Werlyb. So Werlyb's already got himself an advantage.
Yeah.
Looking to be activated as that split pusher. Not much has changed for Werlyb since the last time he played in the LCS stage.
Nope, he is a great split pusher. Like when he's playing on his own, he's doing really, really well, and he's one of those players who's fun to watch in team fights because as soon as he sees his team is losing, he's the first man to just bail out of there and run out. But he'll always run to a lane where he has a minion wave set up and he's ready to push in the tower. So when you want to try and rush into the enemy base after winning a team fight, you always got to keep in mind, if Werlyb is alive, he's probably trying to split push. Same thing for ROCCAT in this game. Hitting gold with the towers, Betsy has been a one-man army almost on this Azir.
Yeah, it's only fair because he can actually summon soldiers. So it helps his case out. Werlyb's going to be gifted the Doom's Eve. With that split push. I really like that name.
Cocoon Eve?
Yeah. We'll get there when we see Elise later in the series.
If we do.
When? If we do.
Oh, you're saying when? Is that a prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to say when.
Alright, who's going to play it?
I think we'll see it. I think Rudy's going to be more likely.
Alright. We're tracking it.
We'll find out if that actually happens. I can't be worse than your predictions earlier today.
Well, you mean when I said Splice would win and they won?
But let's be fair. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not hearing a comeback.
Well, either way, Huma going to be quite content. They've 2 towers to 3. They've lost all of their outers. Thanks to that great work Betsy did in the middle lane. Betsy up 60 CS over his opposite number and looks to be moving down bottom. So going to play the side lane, push that out a little bit.
And that's the thing, right? In order for Huma to really execute their strategy, they need to have priority in the side lanes on getting to waves first and push them in first, so you get to push the side lanes. If you have the kill pressure, you will have that. Like, you will be able to walk into a lane and push it first, because whoever is there defending has to respect you and kind of step back and wait for backup before he can do anything again. In this case, because Godbro cannot kill Betsy, 2 levels down, you know, pretty far down in CS, putting Betsy in the side lane just makes it actually winning lane for ROCCAT. Top lane, though, has been an issue, and someone's dying. No, mid lane.
Collateral damage connected though. Airwaks pins HolyPhoenix and Kaas against the wall. Kaas is going to be the target. Stand behind me. Allows him to hop over the wall to HolyPhoenix. HolyPhoenix dodges some of the culling, but it won't be enough. Dashes over the wall. One lost auto from Tabzz takes him down. ROCCAT lost a tower though. They need to get more for this. Kaas is still running for his life as Betsy was shoving up the bottom lane. So killing Phoenix, getting a bunch of summoners, but the cost of their inner turret up top.
And that's really the issue here for ROCCAT, that 1v1 top lane. Let's see the replay. In mid, engage coming from Airwaks behind him, while we see Rudy obviously on top side with Werlyb. Good engage in, and then the Braum shield will obviously stop the Gragas ulti and just make it explode in front of them, and therefore knock you slightly back instead of knocking you towards the enemy team. HolyPhoenix will die. I also think the small red buff here would probably have finished him if he actually didn't die just before, and in the end nothing else comes from it. But ROCCAT's comp, we know this, they want a team fight. The only reason they're putting Betsy in side lane right now is because he's going to beat Godbro. So you win that side lane, and it's only about Werlyb, but there's no answer for Werlyb if you're on the ROCCAT side. So they want a team fight. They don't want to necessarily keep playing the 1-3-1 game because Freddy doesn't really have anything he can do.
Well, Freddy's got teleport available and 3 targets with no flash. Godbro, Phoenix, Kaas. I mean, you don't really want to taunt Kaas, but if he decides to do a Powerball TP, we're after 20 minutes,
yeah,
it's now been activated. Free kill anywhere Betsy is, basically.
So you're most likely looking for ROCCAT to say, okay, let's push up bot lane. Or if Graves is in the lane, fine, Betsy can sit there, and you have that lane just going even, but then there's a TP advantage for Huma on the bottom side. But push in this lane, and then move Betsy to mid lane. Join up with Tabzz. Walk in towards the mid tower, walk into the enemy jungle, and you start playing that game. Or you set up a gang on Werlyb.
Yeah, don't even need the teleport. Freddy's coming in with the support of Airwaks. Collateral damage to put some distance, but the body slam holds Werlyb in place. Freddy decides to flash for this one. It will be a kill, but what more can ROCCAT take? 3-man stack and minions pushing towards the tower. That was quite a lot invested for what was probably going to be a guaranteed kill.
And it wasn't a move to mid lane, but it's still ROCCAT starting to put multiple members together. Set up these plays here. Betsy's been on fire. Airwaks is finding a Braum in the jungle. And for some reason you can just jump right through a wall.
Yeah, with that big body of his. Does not matter. But this is also fairly reminiscent of Huma. Watching the games throughout Spring Challenger, they would have some games where Godbro would just go off on champions like LeBlanc or Corki, Lissandra at times, and just hard carry. And then other games where the players individually just simply can show up.
And like that's why a comp like this will become so hard to execute for a team like Huma when they're not playing against other challenger teams. Because obviously they are playing against better players now that they're facing ROCCAT and especially Betsy and Airwaks around this mid lane. So when you want to run this LeBlanc pick, and you want to run this 1-3-1 skirmish comp, you know, catching people off, a lot of tempo, you got to really snowball early on. You have to be able to at least go even in the mid lane. You can't fall behind like what, 40 CS? Yes. Obviously also had that one death to Airwaks and Betsy. But it just means the LeBlanc pick then, it becomes so hard to execute it properly. Yeah, Betsy's just going to whatever lane he wants to. Yep. He's stronger than anyone on the map right now, and Airwaks is constantly just around him, being like, alright, so you want to fight Betsy? No, I'm here. Freddy's TP, all Freddy has to do is literally just don't die. And then he has to call for his team if he needs backup on a tower. As long as he keeps the lane right here in the middle for Freddy, he's doing perfectly fine. He's doing his job. He's just sitting ready to TP.
Freddy has had that teleport for a while. Can look to make plays anywhere on the map. Support for ROCCAT moving to the top lane. Going to the strongest member. Playing around Betsy. But the CS differences. Tabzz is way up on Phoenix. Betsy we talked about exceptionally already.
He's done his Thornmail now.
Gonna go all in with the Tremors and the Thornmail and the Sunfire Cape. So as long as Freddy knows where the rest of Huma are, he can play aggressive, but there's that sustain. It's just so good. Everything Freddy did has already been undone by Werlyb, and Werlyb's not even budged out of lane.
But again, as long as he keeps Werlyb all the way down here on the map, that's fine. Because again, the TP from Rammus is a lot more impactful right now, and coming in, locking down one target. No, obviously only one QSS now for HolyPhoenix. So just taunt the Nidalee, taunt their LeBlanc, and then Betsy will just kill them instantly together with tap. And you can see now ROCCAT is just playing 1-3-1 themselves because they are so far ahead with their mid laner. They just have that instant winning lane. And then Tabzz is always pushing mid. And Lucian pushing waves compared to Ezreal, big difference.
Noxiak gets tagged by the Winter's Bite. Glacial Fissure knocks him up into the air as the True Shot barrage comes out. Airwaks interrupts the pounce with a body slam. Werlyb now takes a full face of the culling. That was a couple ultimates invested just for the possibility, but it doesn't really bother ROCCAT. Betsy started to leave from the top lane. The one thing that ROCCAT, I feel, could probably do a better job of is just pushing some of that vision deeper into Huma's jungle, because they have been playing, well, they were playing fairly aggressive, but not a lot of pink wards in the inventory, so let's see if they adjust that for future pushes.
One of the classic mistakes where you have the ping wards down on the map, and you're kind of saying, you're clapping each other on the shoulder, be like, nice go.
Yeah.
You know, you placed the ping wards, look, we got 5 pings
In the
on the map.
tri-bush,
Exactly.
ROCCAT tri-bush,
No,
in the bottom lane.
We have pings on the map. That's what
Okay.
counts. The problem is, obviously, once you push further in, you want to take those pings and you want to move them. I know it sucks, you know, watching that pink ward you placed.
Die.
You kind of kill it yourself by moving in towards
Team killed it.
different position. It is, and it is tough, especially for these mid laners and AD carries where you have to tell them so many times, you know, hey, pink ward. Now you need to kill your own pink ward, by the way, to move it further.
Biscuits at 25 minutes, much more valuable against LeBlanc and Nidalee and Graves.
And that's the thing, right? Always, again, always move them further and further and further. Once you're pushing up, take the enemy jungle. It should be yours now. Farm the jungle, get full vision in it with your pink ward, with your green ward, and then suddenly the other can only try and steal objectives.
All right, I got a little excited there.
But sure, but this,
Nidalee Spear and True Shot Barrage, I thought it could have happened.
in like 3-4 minutes, this will just be the same around Baron. If, again, you have the deep vision on top side, have the pink wards around the Baron.
There are no pink wards, so stop making this prediction.
No, there are 2 right now.
Okay.
Look at this, there's 2 in the river.
Okay.
But then they should have gone back and obviously bought more.
Yeah.
But that's what you did around Dragon is what you want to do around Baron.
All right, so ROCCAT, let's see if they can make the same play again. Gonna just siege up this middle inner turret. Look at the damage onto Kaas. 3 or 4 autos from Betsy. Rylai's completed, Nash's completed, Abyssal completed.
He's earned 11,000 gold already. Godbro is on 8,600. Wow.
Well, you can see why Godbro has some of the lowest CS between 15 and 30 minutes, which you talked about much earlier, Deficio, because when the team's playing side lanes, he's not picking it up. Red buff is secured by Rudy. He's denied to HolyPhoenix at least, so it's a little bit of threat in terms of the jungle, and ROCCAT just splits up. They're going to keep playing 1v1. It's extending their lead. It's relatively safe for the team so far.
And now you're moving towards the Baron. This is what we just talked about. What you did around Dragon, forcing them to like try and blind steal it. Fine, do the same around Baron. They have to come in and face check you soon. Then you have wards behind them and Freddy TP's in behind, or you just catch them out like this. And again, this is what happens when you have control in the jungle. They are forced to walk to Baron at some point. There was Ezreal ulti for Dragon as well. To check what's going on, and then you just kill them.
Defensive flash from Rudy. ROCCAT smell blood in the water. Godbro's in trouble, but he's got a flash available. Airwaks body slam, barrel knocks him backwards. Betsy's looking to chase. As Godbro goes away, flashes over the walls. They're looking for the Huma mid lane, and Godbro gets taken down by Tabzz. 2 easy kills, and ROCCAT turns towards Baron.
Yeah, nice little play by Airwaks here. He didn't want to ulti instantly. He wanted to see if Godbro was trying to flash it, or if he had a second jump with his distortion here with the ulti. That's why he saved it. Body slam first then, and then knocked him in. They are trying to stop the Baron. It's only 3v5.
3v5, Werlyb's got his ultimate. Baron gets shot to about 2,000 HP before the rest of ROCCAT peel away. Baron has been interrupted, which I think is crucial. But it did cost the teleport and flash for Werlyb, as well as from much earlier on. All right, what tower's going down?
That's it,
Bottom
lane
inner turret. So all of that work, if Rudy didn't come earlier and put those autos down, the tower may not have
That is
fallen
true.
out.
That is true. The tower would still be alive. Werlyb obviously pushing it up. Freddy's with his
It was
team.
the 24-minute game, Deficio. Next level planning.
You're 100%
What
correct.
can you say about that?
That's it, right?
But crucially, Huma keep themselves gold relevant by taking down the last remaining outer turret. And this is how it all started. We just saw the face check.
I mean, Kaas is like, all right, I gotta go in and like see what's going on, see if I can place a ward maybe over the wall, and then obviously there's no vision spotting him. ROCCAT walks straight in, picks up the first kill, and it's why when you have these comps where, or when you get this far ahead and you just push in every lane, whichever objective you're playing around, being a Dragon or Baron, that's where you put your vision. So the enemy team just walks in blind, you just engage. Like, imagine if they actually had a few more wards behind them as ROCCAT. Freddy will just TP in. What do? Freddy's just behind you now, and then in front of you is the rest of ROCCAT.
Blue trinkets are down. Noxiak is playing the sacrificial lamb. Baron is secured completely safely by ROCCAT, and the subjugate will buy time for Noxiak to stay alive. A good barrel pins Huma against the wall, and Kaas is trying to save everyone's life with the Fisher. The taunt lands onto Phoenix, forcing out the QSS, but ROCCAT have connected 2 back-to-back as the True Shot Barrage doesn't do anything to help Huma out. 8 kills to 4. ROCCAT now can take this 1-3-1 even further with Baron and Pod minions.
And now you can just do everything. Honestly, group up 4-man towards the tower, have Freddy pushing one other lane, and you can just poke away with Betsy so effectively. So this is the Baron start, this is what we mentioned again. You have the control around it, they are coming in to try and stop you. Behind them is Freddy coming with the flank. And now you have this great engage here from Airwaks with a 3-man body slam. They're playing extremely well on this Gragas. And then, of course, Freddy down here in the bottom of the screen as well, just being annoying.
100% kill participation for Airwaks on that Gragas. Good, you know, he's holding his barrels for the right time.
Yeah.
He's been in the right areas where Huma has tried to pressure and supported Betsy. I mean, look, Airwaks and Betsy hold hands when they play all the time.
And it's something that actually worked against a lot of LCS teams in the early game. With those 2 guys, obviously against the challenger team, I feel like it's going to work as well. I mean, that's what we've seen now, so it's an easy prediction to make. But that's the thing. It's going to be very tough for Huma to challenge that 2v2. If we look at the final against Copenhagen Wolves, Rudy and Kaas were 2 weaker members for Huma.
Blue team's turret.
Against ROCCAT, you know, you can't really afford to have a weaker jungle matchup in this case, or weaker jungler, even though you actually have a better matchup with Nidalee, of course.
And lane swap somewhat nullifies that power.
Exactly, that's why again the lane swap was so smart from ROCCAT, and I felt like Huma could have tried to swap after it, but it's so easy to say because
we've got perfect hindsight.
We can see it hindsight 2020, and at the same time as well, if you didn't swap top and they didn't actually swap, you just look stupid. Because now you're top lane and you're like, man, what are we doing here? Like, we wanted the 2v2.
Would you have gone as far as to say Huma's team comp hinged on a lane swap? It's something that I know Crepo speaks quite a lot about on air and off air, how a team comp can be sort of broken by lane swaps sometimes. Do you think that, or do you think that's overly harsh?
I mean, the comp is definitely a bit worse if there is a swap, except for the fact that Graves does extremely well in lane swap in terms of pushing in towers very fast with the shotgun there. But because, again, you want to set up Nidalee to do well, you want to snowball early, the lane swap kind of shuts that down. So yeah, they got affected by it. And now Betsy's doing everything.
Looking for Kaas again. Puncturing Taunt holds him in place. Betsy's taken a lot of damage from Werlyb. They've turned it around. It becomes a 2-on-4, but the inhibitor in the top lane was broken. And the base was open down bottom. A 6,000 gold Baron power play. We may be breaking all records for Baron power plays in the promotion tournament thus far. We've seen some huge ones. But ROCCAT, despite losing Freddy, I think they'll still be very happy with that siege, with the push, and the fact they've got another dragon,
6k gold.
They can just set up siege in middle or bottom lane to look to close the game out.
Exactly. So, you know, that leaves a lot of questions for Huma in this game here, because they came in with this combat as the first game, and normally for first game, it's one of the games you prepare the most for. You try and predict what the other team is going to pick, and you try and like prepare your team for what is the other team normally doing in game, like what is it they're doing well, and everything there comes into game one. If you then start having all these things you thought were going to happen, or maybe you didn't expect to happen, and it all happens in game one, adapting becomes harder, unless you prepare like 3-4 different strategies, and that's what we need to see from Huma, because again, running this 1-3-1 heavy skirmish has to snowball if it falls behind. Like this combo, if it falls behind, as we can see, there's barely anything, because Werlyb is in the side lane. You wave this now, LeBlanc jumping in on Ice Spawn Gauntlet Ezreal. Like there's no wave there. It's just free push from ROCCAT every time. Static shift from Tabzz to always push mid first, and he just gave pushing power to 2 lanes for ROCCAT, and only Freddy were honestly in trouble.
I think it's important to note that Godbro opted into this matchup. It was a last pick LeBlanc after seeing everybody except the Rammus on the side of ROCCAT. So it was a mid lane matchup. They knew their early priority. First pick Nidalee. 0-0-2, Rudy just did not have that impact because of how important the lane swap became. ROCCAT grouped themselves up now. 4 members in the middle, 1 down bottom. Freddy's got TP if he needs it.
Go to Freddy, honestly. You can go 5-man in on that inhib if you want. You have this
Huma do
massive
not
front
want to
line.
fight
No,
Rocket's
I mean,
top.
you got a 4-item Rammus now coming in as well, and you disengage.
Yes, they can. Kaas is the target for now. The barrel roll, or body slam rather, comes out from the back. Airwaks connects onto Godbro, throws him back into the team with the cast. Everybody from Huma's trying to peel away. Freddy's down. Airwaks is down. ROCCAT were unable to get the kills, despite it looking so good at the start. Noxiak, Betsy, and Tabzz, the last men standing. Betsy's got himself a double. Tabzz dashes forward, picks up the kill onto Rudy, and the inhibitor will follow shortly thereafter. Super minions in the top. ROCCAT, they may want to stick around. Still got to deal with a full health Godbro and HolyPhoenix. HolyPhoenix spamming out those mystic shots. Dashes forward with the arcane shift. Flashes over. Still available rather. With the arcane shift moving him around the fight. Both Nexus turrets are down. And in 34 minutes, ROCCAT destroy Huma's base.
So a fairly risky composition coming in from Huma. One of these comps that has been working for them back in the Challenger Series, but it's so much harder to execute once you face the LCS teams, where the level does go up a bit. And it never really got rolling other than Werlyb. He picked up a few kills, and it also came from ROCCAT with that failed dive in the bottom lane where he TP'd in and got 2 kills on the Graves. And, you know, Werlyb had his impact, but losing the mid lane this hard, losing mid tower also because Godbro ended up dying when he tried to pick off Airwaks, lost the mid tower right after. Betsy could just pick whatever lane he wanted to, and no one could stop him.
Yeah.
He tried to send Werlyb there, instant, you know, Rammus just comes down, Gragas moves down, you just insect back the Graves, he dies, and Betsy keeps pushing in. So mid lane matchup became very key, and of course a good performance from Airwaks as well on Graves.
Yep.
Sorry, on Gragas.
On Gragas, yeah. Very good battles throughout the course of the game, and that matchup that Godbro opted into is the first time he's lost all year on LeBlanc. 5-1 now after being taken down, actually very handily by Betsy.
Oh, yeah.
Their laning phase was heavily in Betsy's favor throughout the course of the game.
Yes.
But now we need to see what happens. It's interesting because the next game is the only one that ROCCAT will be on blue side. So ROCCAT had the choice of sides in games 1, 3, and 5. They chose red side. This is the first time that Huma had the choice of side, and they chose red side as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic changes, if at all, because that dynamic change was what helped Splice in the previous series.
It did, yeah.
So we will find out shortly. For now, we're going to head over to the analyst desk to talk about how